Hello, and welcome to Tit Talks, the podcast of the Tucson Indian Center. I'm so grateful you've joined us today.
September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and this episode is dedicated to raising awareness, sharing resources, and offering hope.
At TIC, we believe in supporting one another through prevention, intervention, and postvention. Today, we'll be introducing our SPIP and SAMHSA team.
We'll talk about warning signs, coping skills, and share local crisis numbers. You also hear a personal story of resilience from our community. Let's begin.
So, good morning. I'm Alyssa Dryling. I am one of the suicide prevention and education specialists with the suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention team.
And hello, my name is Halaya. I work alongside Alyssa with the Suicide Prevention Intervention Postvention Grant.
Hello, everybody. My name is Misty Castro. I am the Native Connections Project Coordinator through the SAMHSA grant, and my partner in crime will be Mr.
Joey! Hello, everybody. My name is Joey Haro, and I am the youth specialist here at Tucson Indian Center. I work alongside with my partner, Misty, and what I basically do is go into the schools and teach you guys about your cultures and your basic life skills, which is very vital for knowing what's going to happen in the future for yourself. So I'm ready to go. Thank you.
And through the SAMHSA program, we offer support and guidance for suicide prevention, mental health, and substance abuse misuse.
This program is designed just for you to help you regain your life and do the best you can within life.
And same with the suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention program. We're here for anybody that is in a mental health crisis, anybody that needs to talk, anybody that needs mental health resources. We're here for you guys. You could call us, or you could text us, or you could just come into the center and talk to us.
And with that being said, we also do offer two different trainings. Our first, that is most prominent for our community, is our QPR training. QPR stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. In QPR, we teach the signs of suicide as well as the steps to take to get those people to the help they need. So becoming that bridge and that middleman, and not necessarily a therapist, but getting those people to the help that they need.
And we also offer assist training, which is applied suicide intervention skills training, which are more for professionals that do direct services to community members. It's 2 full days of really intense role playing for crisis intervention. On top of the trainings, we also provide a men only drum circle. This is a place for men to learn from one another and to heal together. The next drum circle will occur on September 23rd. And then for the rest of the year for 2025, it'll be every first and third Tuesday of the month. And then we also have our Mindful Pages book club. We just finished Broken Home, Healed Nest, but we are continuing reading multiple books with trauma and learn how to cope and have discussion and some journaling exercises. So the next book club meeting will be on the 18th of September from 5:30 to 7 here at the center as well. We do provide the books for free, so no worries on getting your own book. And lastly, we have a Healing Minds peer-led support group. We are all filled up for our first group, which starts September 29th, but we are taking people for our wait list to pre-register for our following one, which will be in January.
And other things that we have going on for our community is we just had our first GONA. And what is a GONA? GONA stands for Gathering of Native Americans. A GONA is a community healing process to address challenges like addiction, violence, chronic negativity, and other lasting impacts identified by community. GONA is a process that helps participants connect dots between trauma, behavior, healing, and living in balance. The process follows 4 components, which are belonging, mastery, interdependence, and generosity. So one thing I do want to share with our community is the GONA is very powerful, and it will be a 2-day training. So those of you who hear about Agona, I would expect to participate for those 2 full days. Another thing we have going on is the Hope for Life. Hope for Life is a yearly event that we do for suicide prevention and mental health. We also invite our community partners that provide behavioral health services, handle crisis, and just support one another for our community. And we will also, at these events, we also talk about personal experiences with suicide and possibly prevention in that case. With that being said, I'm going to hand this off to Joey so he can explain what he does at our schools.
So I'm the guy that gets to go out to the schools and meet you guys. Let me explain the program a little to you. We go off a youth spirit curriculum that incorporates, to narrow it down, your self-awareness and your self-management, basic skills of life, the life skills. We also talk about your culture, cultural awareness, leaders within your culture and your community, and most importantly, we also focus on the awareness of suicide. That's basically what I do. I go out there, encourage you guys. I'm here for you. Come on, guys, come on out. Talk to your teachers, talk to your staff. Staff, what am I saying? You guys are teachers. Talk to your teachers, your staff, and the admins, and invite us. I would love to go to your school. So hit me up, guys. We're here.
And I just want to touch base back on our QPR training. This training is open to community members age 18 and older who want to learn the essential skills needed to ask the life-saving question. Registration is required for this QPR training, and after completion, you will receive a certificate along with a $10 gift card. Our next QPR training will be November 19th. It will be on a Wednesday, and we have it scheduled for 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. here at the Indian Center. So now let's talk about some of the warning signs that someone may be struggling with suicidal thoughts. These can include talking about feeling hopeless or having no purpose.
Also, people can withdraw from friends and family, so kind of isolate themselves and stay in kind of like a hole, stay in their rooms, especially with youth. Stay in their rooms and don't want to go explore or talk to anybody.
Another sign is people giving away their belongings. Say that, grandmother's had this heirloom for ages and she starts giving away things. And, it's not her preparing that she's older, it's her preparing that she's ready to go. We never know what anybody is going through mentally, physically, or emotionally. So those are the signs that we need to start paying attention to.
Other signs that you can really look for is the coping skills, and there are very powerful tools. Most importantly, you really need to go ahead and identify if you yourself are going through suicide. If you feel yourself hopeless or not going anywhere or just don't care for life anymore, please reach out. Remember, you are the difference, you matter, and there are people that love you.
And going into coping skills, some coping skills that people can use, I personally use, is journaling and going to the gym. At the end of the day, I always feel so much better when I take like 5 minutes out of my day to journal about my day, journal how I'm feeling physically and mentally, and then, of course, going to the gym to release all of the anger and tension that I have built up throughout the day or even the week.
And one thing I would like to share is, sometimes you can notice that somebody is just not themselves, and it's okay to ask somebody if they're okay. But I just want you guys to keep in mind that when you guys are ready to approach somebody, be prepared to listen. Give that person the time. Don't be looking at your clock. Don't be looking at your phone. Give that person the time of day to let them know that they matter.
A good technique to use too is journal. Make sure you journal. And it's good to go back on. I journal all the time, and it's nice to look back and see where my steps have led me to today. And it's a good guide to help you guys.
And another good coping skill as well would be meditating. Simply just taking even just 5 minutes out of your day to meditate. Just starting at that minimum amount of minutes is a good step. That way you're learning to ground yourself and to be present, and as well as to be familiar with what you are thinking and feeling in the moment. So these are helpful coping tools to look back on as well.
And honestly, a coping skill could be anything that brings you like centered and calm. Like Kalia said, we kind of want to understand our feelings and acknowledge them, but don't keep them and stick to them. We want to acknowledge it and then kind of let them go. So do something that centers yourself and kind of brings you some calmness.
And one thing I want to add to is even just crying. Don't be afraid to cry because that is releasing all that buildup in emotion. And release is what's important instead of bottling everything up and keeping it in.
Absolutely. And another piece is making sure that you have a good support system. It's okay to talk about your problems. It's okay to tell somebody, hey, I'm feeling this way. And, again, you just have to be more comfortable voicing what is going on with you. And that's the only way that everybody can help you out.
And you aren't weak for asking for help. Asking for help is a sign of strength as well. And asking for help, we do have some local resources and local hotlines that you can call. There is the national 988 number. You can dial it, you could call it, or you could even text the 988 number. It's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They are 24/7, 365, 7 days out of the week. You could call or text them. If you live in the Tucson area, we have the Tucson Crisis Line. You can call them again 24/7, day or night. Their number is 520-622-6000. And lastly, we have the Tucson Indian Center, the SPIP and SAMHSA team, our direct line, our cell phone number. We are only Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but you can call or text us out as well at 520-602-5402.
You can also email us at ticwd@ticcenter.org.
So please save these numbers in your phone or share them with a loved one. These numbers can make a difference for somebody who is scared to ask for help.
Okay, so now I just want to take this moment to share my personal experience with suicide. Um, when I was in the middle school, I was in eighth grade. I have a sister that was very close with a friend of hers, and they were so close that I considered her my friend as well. Um, I just want to touch base that at that age we were so little and young that nobody was really aware of these signs of suicide or talked about suicide in that instant. Um, I remember, I believe I was 12 years old. I consider that very, very young now that I am an adult. And she had completed suicide on a night and a weekend. We weren't expecting her to do that. Um, the signs were there now that I think back. I don't understand why nobody, even the staff, were as aware on this matter. This girl, she was a bright young girl. She was very everybody knew her. Very friendly, very outgoing. She had the biggest personality, big jokester, and like they say, even those people could be hurting inside, and unfortunately that was the case with her. Um, she completed suicide and it had shook our entire class, especially me and my sister, because of how close she was with her. Um, After her suicide, it really took a big toll on my sister. She became depressed, and it really was a lot. It hurt for me to watch her go through that. Um, it got to the point where she herself wanted to commit suicide. Um, I wasn't gonna let that happen. I found her plan and I turned it in, and I had no shame doing that. I was upset with her because in my mind I was like, you wanted to leave me here? No. Um, but I wanted to share that because I want everybody to be aware that even at that young age, the youth can have suicidal ideation and depression, and it can be hidden really well. And any youth that may be listening to this, I pray and I ask you, speak out. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to speak out if you see things, if you have any questions at all, too.
And it's kind of like if you have a gut feeling, ask the question or talk to somebody if you just feel like something's off. It is sad to say that suicide within our youth is at its highest, especially here in Tucson as well. But overall, in the whole United States, youth suicide is at an all time high due to many factors, but the main one is social media. Social media is a big factor into our youth suicide.
But I just want to thank my team for sharing some things. This is Misty, and I just wanted to share um, just a little experience that I had. When we talk about suicide, it's not a job, it's more personal. So I want you guys to kind of think about that for a second. You know, this is not just a paycheck, this is a personal fight, and this is what we're trying to do to educate our community. But a story that I would like to share is I have an older brother, and he was 5 years older than me. I was in grade school, and there was a day where my mom was in her party phase, drinking, doing drugs. Kids did whatever they wanted to do. There was no supervision, just as long as we stayed out of trouble. This one day I noticed that my brother didn't come out of his room, and I was wondering, like, what is going on here? And I went and approached my own mom, and she was just like, you know, he's just being him. And eventually, one thing that my brother did show me how to do growing up is pick locks, and that's what I did. So as I opened the door, I looked at my brother, and he was slumped over, face down on his bed. And I went to go try to wake him up, and when I lifted his head, he had foam coming out of his mouth. And that scared me to death. I ran and went and got my mom, and all of a sudden, the medics were there, and my brother was taken away for a long period of time. That right there was traumatic for me because, again, you grow up, and born and raised in Tucson, you don't talk about these things. You don't talk about mental health. You don't talk about suicide. There's a lot of things you don't talk about in our community. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just like we need to start breaking that stigma and start talking about it. If something's going on, you see something, say something. Because at the end of the day, it's such a whole, like, void. It's a loss when that person is no longer here. I'm very blessed that, yes, my brother is still alive. But again, you know, it's still kind of like he's not here. With that being said, I just wanted to share that story. I want you guys to really think about these things. And just because we're talking about suicide doesn't mean that it's going to happen. And that's something you also need to think about as well. With that being said, thank you very much for listening to my story.
Thank you, Misty. I just wanted to add on to that. In our native culture, in a lot of native cultures, it's very stigmatized and frowned upon to even say the word suicide, to talk about it. From what I know, there isn't a word for suicide in many cultural languages. So I just want to say that with times changing, times growing, we need to speak on it more and end that stigma, regardless of what our elders think, because we have to be here, we have to be present, and we have to speak on it for people, for our people especially.
I'd like to go ahead and point out something. We've heard really stories that impact the individual as well as everyone else. But I have an upside to mine, believe it or not. I'd like to start off by saying my name is Joey Harrell, and I am a suicide attempt survivor. I don't want to go into it too much deep, but what I'm going to tell you is very important because it helped me. So I'll start out. I did have troubles in school, mixed with my emotions, didn't understand, try to get help by giving little notes of I don't want to live no more, or I would tell my friends, why does life be this way? Why doesn't anybody care about me? I had my troubles, and I was put into a mental hospital for a little bit for about 2 weeks. Then when I got out, I transferred over to a local high school, and there was one of the men I highly respected, and he's passed on, and he was a great mentor, and I'm going to mention his name because many of you that are listening may know him. His name was Mr. O'Kelly, and he was my band teacher. And the first day that I attended the school, he called me into my office because he knew who I was and sat me down and looked at me with his piercing eyes and said, "Who do you think you are? Depriving life of what you can contribute." And I just sat there thinking, what the heck? And he goes, "You try to deprive the music you play for me and the love that you show your family, your friends, and those that you haven't met yet and will in the future." And as a 15-year-old teenager, I just listened and I incorporated those words. The last time I tried to attempt suicide was an eye opener. After I came out of me not succeeding, I heard the words of Mr. O'Kelly, "You matter." One of the big things he told me too is that in the future, there's going to be many moments in your life, and you are trying to deprive yourself from that. You will impact lives, and you'll impact yourself. About 5 or 6 years later, I got married, and Mr. O'Kelly was at my wedding. He hugged my wife, and then he came to me. He pulled me in. He hugged me, and he said, "This is one of the moments I was telling you about in life, and you have many more to come." And boy, was he right. Was he right? I'm still married to the wonderful woman for 35 years. I have 4 wonderful children, 2 grandchildren, a wonderful job. I work with great colleagues. That's the upside of talking to someone. Whether it's your teacher, your friend, your family, do not be afraid because they are people out there that truly care about you. If you want to hear more about my story, tomorrow we have Hope for Life. Come on by. It's a great opportunity. I go a little more in detail, not too much. As you've probably heard, I got choked up, but tomorrow's the day that you'll see the tears raining down. So please take this information very, very to heart. We heard great stories today. Please, please, please do that. So go out there, be yourself, and be true. And that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Joey.
Joey. I also want to share a personal story as well. You know, a lot of the things like the warning signs of suicide is somebody is losing something. They're giving away their stuff, so they're losing their stuff. Some other things are like they might have lost a job, they might have lost a relationship, especially with our youth, they might have lost their first love. But my story is I lost my brother about 2 years ago, so I was struggling with grief. So with grief, there comes along a roller coaster of emotions. Grief is not a straight journey, same with any type of mental health journey. Grief is a roller coaster, so I had my own thoughts, and luckily enough, I have a great support system within work, within my family. So I was able to share, how I was feeling and go and actually seek mental health, a professional. I went to go see a therapist, and I'm still seeing my therapist. So, asking for help is not weak and is not okay to go seek help. It is okay to not be okay. It is okay to ask for help. And at the end of the day, what we're all trying to tell you all is that each and every single one of you matter. No matter in which way, you all matter no matter what. But we want to end this segment by saying thank you so much for being here and taking a moment to hear our stories, to hear about the warning signs of suicide, to hear about a few coping skills that each one of us might use, or just some overall coping skills. As we close today's episode, again, I want to re-say the resources that are out there for anybody that may be struggling with mental health or suicide. So there is the 988 number. You could call or text it 24/7. If you live in the Tucson area, there's the Tucson Crisis Line at 520-622-6000. And Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, we have the TIC, SPIP, and SAMHSA phone, which is our work cell phone. That number is 520-602-5402. Again, we are always here and available to help you. Suicide prevention is about connection, compassion, and community. None of us are alone in this journey. So thank you for joining us for this special episode of Tick Talks. Please share this with your family and friends, and remember, together we can prevent suicide and support healing in our community. Until next time, stay safe and stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.